Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to our channel. Today we've got an exciting discussion for you. The differences between git pull and git fetch. These two commands are fundamental in the world of Git, and knowing when and how to use them is crucial.
I've heard a lot about these commands, but I'm still a bit confused. Could you start by explaining what git fetch does?
Absolutely, Laura. So git fetch is a command that connects to a remote repository and downloads commits, files, and references. However, here's the key point. It does not integrate those changes into your local repository. It just updates your remote tracking branches. This allows you to see what's been changed before deciding to merge it into your own code.
Got it. So, it's like a way to review changes without immediately applying them, right?
Exactly. It's a way to stay informed about what's happening in the remote repository. You can review those changes at your own pace. Now let's contrast that with the other command, git pull.
Oh, right. What's the big deal with git pull?
Great question. Git pull is really a two-step process that does both fetching and merging in one command. So, when you run git pull, it first performs a git fetch to get the changes from the remote repository, and then it automatically merges those changes into your current branch.
So, it's all about convenience?
Exactly, it simplifies the workflow. But there's a catch. This automatic merging might create conflicts if there have been changes both locally and remotely.
Interesting. So, what happens if there's a conflict when pulling changes?
That's when things can get a little tricky. With git pull, if there are merge conflicts, you'll need to resolve them before you can complete the pull. This can be stressful if you're not prepared, which is why some developers prefer to use git fetch first.
That makes sense. So is there an ideal situation for using git fetch versus git pull?
Definitely. If you're collaborating on a project and you want to keep an eye on changes without disrupting your workflow, git fetch is the way to go. It gives you an opportunity to review changes before merging. On the other hand, if you're ready to incorporate those changes directly into your branch, git pull is the more efficient option.
So it's about being cautious versus being quick?
Exactly. You got it. Think of fetch as a way to check the mail. You're looking at what's come in without opening it yet. And pull is like grabbing the mail and deciding right there to open everything.
That's a very relatable analogy, but how often should I use each command while working?
Good question. Using git fetch regularly, like before you start working for the day, can keep you updated on the project status. If you're working on a feature branch and you want to integrate changes from the main branch, this would be a great time to switch to git pull after reviewing any changes.
What about best practices? Are there any common mistakes to avoid?
Absolutely. One common mistake is relying solely on git pull without understanding what changes you're incorporating. It's vital to understand involves the risks of conflicts. Many developers have lost their work because of sudden merges.
Yikes, that sounds intense.
It really can be. Another mistake is neglecting to fetch updates before pushing your own changes. Always fetch first so that you understand the context of your work in relation to the overall project.
So it's about communication with your remote repo as well?
You've hit the nail on the head. Good communication through careful updating will keep your project running smoothly.
I'm seeing more ways to use these commands effectively. What about when it comes to branches? How do these commands affect different branches?
Great point. Both commands work with branches that track remote branches. When you do git fetch, it updates all the remote tracking branches, allowing you to see if the upstream branch has diverged. You need to merge these changes into your local branch, which you can do after reviewing them.
And git pull integrates changes into the branch I'm currently on, right?
You got it. But make sure to be on the correct branch when using pull. It merges the changes into the branch that you currently have checked out.
So could there be any scenarios where I'd want to use both commands successively?
Absolutely. A good workflow might be, first, use git fetch to see what's changed. Then, after reviewing those changes, you might decide to use git pull to bring in the latest updates.
That makes total sense. What if I only want to fetch changes from a specific branch?
Excellent question. You can actually specify the branch you're interested in when using git fetch. The command looks like this: git fetch origin branch name. This retrieves only the updates from that particular branch.
So I can tailor my incoming changes based on what part of the project I'm working on. Neat.
Exactly. It helps keep your local environment tidy and focused. Tailoring fetches can be a very useful practice for collaboration.
So, we've talked a lot about the functional differences, but are there performance impacts as well?
Definitely. Git fetch is generally faster because it's just a retrieval process with no merging involved. When you execute git pull, both fetch and merge need to happen, which can take longer, especially if there are several updates or conflicts.
That's interesting. So it might be better to rely on fetch if I'm working with larger repositories?
Yes, that's correct. If you're concerned about performance, using fetch allows you to manage your workflow without the overhead of unnecessary merges.
I am really appreciating all this knowledge on Git. Is there anything else I should know to deepen my understanding?
For sure. There's a lot of power in understanding a few additional flags and options. For instance, git pull allows you to rebase instead of merge with the rebase option. This keeps a cleaner project history.
Oh, that sounds like a whole other topic.
It really is. Manipulating history is a powerful aspect of Git. If you'd like, we can create another video solely on that topic.
That would be amazing.
Perfect. Before we wrap up, remember that both git fetch and git pull have their own uses, and understanding them can help you immensely in your development.
Thank you so much for breaking this down for us, Bill. I feel much more prepared to tackle my Git processes now.
Anytime, Laura. And to our viewers, make sure to practice using these commands regularly to build your confidence. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Until next time, keep coding, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye for now. Happy fetching and pulling.